Yes! Oh my god, yes. Oh my god. Original Cataclysm. Verified. And I just want to point out that I didn't bother to fix this transition at 91. I did not bother because that's not how it originally was, and I wanted to do the original version. Okay. I know already I'm down to... Just a straight fly. Beat it.
GG.
Beat New Cata. Oh my god.
Cata sucks.
This level sucks!
It does.
Okay. People who say this is an insane demon are just wrong. I'm sorry, but factually wrong. If you're saying it's an extreme demon, you're either on a high refresh rate, or you need to get your ego out of your ass. God fucking damn.
So that was both old and new Cataclysm. Once heralded as the impossible level of early 1.9, it is the level that gave way to a new world of difficulty that was so well decorated at the time. It produced one of the most legendary speed hacked videos in the form of Liar Bandicoot's video, and paved the way to the GD YouTubers, Skilled or Hackers video, that has forever changed the community. There are a few differences at places, whilst others are essentially the same, so I shall be tackling both levels simultaneously whilst comparing any differences, along with how they affect the general difficulty, vibe, and enjoyability of the level. For simplicity, I shall be referring to percentages according to New Cataclysm, being the current official version of the level. The first cube is relatively simple, with some basic timings, nothing too crazy going on to match the build up for the start of the song. The only difference is that in the new version, there is a coin at 3%, timing the blue orb rather than missing it for the purple orbs. The decoration is very dark, fading between reds, oranges, and yellows, to an ominous black, as if a warning for those not yet skilled enough to turn back. The song is also rather foreboding with the choir and strings, creating an intimidating vibe that further supports the level being for the worthy. The start of the wave is rather similar in both versions, if not the same. However, by 10%, the new version is much more difficult, sporting 5 one-block width mini-wave spaces, making it the hardest part of the level, as opposed to the old version, where 13% was the standout point due to the size portal switches. The gameplay complements the music greatly, as the synthetic melody and drums make for an out-of-control feeling, with the wave constantly maneuvering up and down, changing sizes. The decoration makes the part seem very otherworldly, with the beams of color and spiked pillars, the thorns and bushes making it look overgrown and neglected. The 90% ship is vastly different between the two versions in terms of gameplay and decoration. In the old version, the gameplay is simple tunnel navigation, with gravity portals to match the beat of the song, and the gameplay of course being mirrored. The decoration is very basic and a little misleading, with decorative pieces placed in the curves to make it seem tighter than it is. In the new version, it utilizes a lot of invisible size change portals that are more difficult to get used to. The decoration is more 2.0 glow styled and feels a little strange to play through as it falls to the more traditional style associated with Hell theme. Following the ship is the second wave, where the grey blocks of the old version are instead black, matching the now black background from the ship, making it more difficult to see where the spike pillars are. For the 27% bowl, there is only a single change in gameplay with the addition of the spike at 35%. For the first half of the bowl, it uses basic structures, whilst the gameplay primarily consists of fast orb timings. The second half is gameplay reminiscent to the 48% bowl of the Clubstep by Neptune, with tight bowl spaces, only here there are speed changers that bump the difficulty a little. The decoration is rather simple looking, but uses a lot of blending glow to create the pulsing effect, immediately catching the eye and bringing the player's attention straight to where the player needs to go. The first half is a lot more sporadic and fast paced due to the song, whilst the second half is slower and more precise when the synth melody dies down for a moment, contrasting the two parts of the bowl perfectly. The 36% UFO has some tricky fast paced orbs and taps. The gameplay speeding up as the synthetic melody comes back in once again, making for that fast vibe. The structures themselves are mostly comprised of groups of spikes in a circular shape, with saws at their cores, that are sectioned off with some glowing pillars, which the player becomes a cube for a moment. The decoration is rather simplistic, with the circles of spikes being the main focus, and the pillars having overlapping glow. There is a large difference in difficulty between versions at the 40% ship. In the old version, you had to dip down to reach the inverted mini straight fly, whereas in the new version, you just go in a straight line. That is also a 15th of a block wider as well. Once again, the gameplay slows down as the synthetic whine in the background goes for another moment, creating a moment of intense focus on the straight fly itself. The colors turn to a deep red, being the most difficult part of the old version and one of the hardest in the new version. At the 44% cube, the whine returns, and so the gameplay gets faster once more. The color palette returns to an orange of sorts, but has a little more red to it than before the whine dies out once again. The gameplay slowing down and the player becoming mini, traversing floating blocks and some blue orb timings. The decoration is mainly made of bricks and glow, the background remaining a solemn black, making the orange and red stand out amongst everything else. At the 52% bowl, the music dies down to only pianos and strings, as the structures and pillars start as a faded black, to be lit up in bright reds, oranges, and yellows, bright lights in a pitch black night. There is some fast orb and platform timing, made difficult by the nerves of the player, going from platform to lit platform, trying to see it through the night. The music adds to the tense and courageous atmosphere, due to everything before being very synthetic or manic, reduced to an organic melodic tone that spurs the player on. The 64% ship houses some of the biggest differences in the entire level. The slopes that transition the player to the straight fly are at the end of the platform in the old version, whereas they're at the start in the new version. The straight fly monsters are made more difficult with large spikes replacing a lot of flat spikes, making 65% especially more difficult. The duel at 70% is the most affected difference, however. The spikes in the monster are closed in, only the lower jaw is slightly closer to the player than the upper jaw, making for a rather skewed straight fly, made even more difficult on lower refresh rates. The final main change is in the form of the spikes at the end of the duel and at the 74% monster, which are all large spikes now, when they were only medium sized in the old version. The decoration returns to an orange, having made it through the night, with the monsters trying to stop you escaping the hell you once willingly entered. The 75% wave remains unchanged in the ways of gameplay, however has added fire and thorns in some of the more open sections in the new version, with added chains linking between the upper and lower structures. The background is a deep red, the hell you are about to escape, but not before one last obstacle. In the old version, the transition from the wave to cube requires the player to hit the portal in a specific area to make it to the rest of the floating blocks, or else fall to the abyss to be claimed by the Cataclysm. In the new version, the transition is instead replaced with a straight fly at the GG, taunting you with how close victory is. Once having passed these final obstacles, you can call yourself a survivor of the Cataclysm of old or new, depending on which you be. Overall, the old version is generally easier, and in my opinion, more balanced, exempting the 40% straight fly, than that of the new version, with the buffs making the level a lot less fun to play, and more grueling to endure. Whereas the old version took me 3,300 attempts, the new version took 8,900 attempts, which made it a lot more of a grind than I wanted it to be. Some people call this an insane demon, which I deeply disagree with, and would not recommend as a first extreme, or a second for that matter. Perhaps a fifth extreme, but you should at least pass the Cataclysm of Old, which I have uploaded on my account, to which the details can be found in the description. Sorry once again for the lack of Erebus streams. The weather looks to be finally getting cool enough to stream, and I've started a new college course to help with finding work, and I've not been playing GD as much as I previously have been. However, that comes from poor choices of levels to play and finding more games to play with friends. If all goes well, streams should be returning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Erebus will fall eventually. Hope you're all doing well during these trying times. Thanks again for watching, spread some love, make the world a better place.